When you first enter TestWise, you are presented with two options for entry into the assessment system. Students who are taking an assessment should enter using the left-hand icon, and staff who are administering the assessment should enter using the right-hand icon. When you first enter the system as an administrator, you will be prompted to create a new password. If you have already set your password but have forgotten it, please click the Forgotten Your Password link. Once you're in the system, you will see a panel on the left-hand side listing all of the subscriptions you currently have for our assessments. Please select the assessment you are about to administer. For the purposes of this tutorial, we are discussing PASS. You are now ready to register your students with our TestWise assessment system. First, please make a note of the Register ID, as we have indicated on the screen here. Students will need this Register ID along with their password to take the assessment. Therefore, it is a good idea to write the Register ID on a whiteboard or flip chart in the assessment room. Once you have entered these details, click the Register button on the top right-hand corner of the screen. Once you have logged in, you will see a panel on the top left-hand side of the screen with a number of icons on it. The Add button can be used when you want to add smaller numbers of students. Whereas to add whole groups of students for your MIS system, for example, you should click the Import button. The Export button will enable you to export the student database so you can use the data elsewhere. The Copy button enables you to copy some or all of your student database. For example, you could use this to add students to another assessment you have a subscription for. Finally, the Print button allows you to print a copy of the database. This is very useful when students are logging in at the start of an assessment and need to know information such as their password. You are able to select groups or individuals to print by ticking boxes down the left-hand side next to the names. Alternatively, you can use the Select All option. When you are importing groups of students to the system via the Import button, we will provide you with a CSV template for you to populate using data from your school's MIS system. Please note that columns A to G and column J are mandatory fields. The other fields are optional, but we recommend that you use them as they provide additional analysis relating to your students within the reports. Please note that it is vital that you do not alter or amend the format of the CSV file. For example, ensure that the data you input is consistent, such as case sensitivity of text. Please note that FSM isn't relevant to international schools, and the ethnic group is often used by international schools to record nationality. Once you have added your students or uploaded your CSV file as detailed, you will then have a screen on which you can check pupils' details and monitor their usage as they take the assessment. Turning now to your students. They will log into TestWise using the left-hand icon as indicated on the screen here. A small window will pop up on which the student should then enter the Register ID for the assessment they are about to take. You will remember we indicated earlier that the tutor should write the Register ID somewhere prominent in the room so students can find this information easily. Please note that this reference will be different every time you run a new assessment or survey. Your students will then see a list similar to the one shown here. At this point, they need to select their own name. After selecting their own name, the student will be prompted to enter their password. The password option is generated by the administrator and is entered into the CSV template. However, it can be turned on or off depending on the group. Passwords can be imported from the school's MIS system, and they are useful to ensure that students do not make a mistake when picking their own name. Once the login details have been entered successfully, students will be taken to a screen where they should click on the assessment with the green traffic light signifying the assessment is ready. There is an option to choose the language they prefer. Please select the appropriate language for your school. Please note that once the assessment has been started, the student cannot then change their initial choice of language. In addition to the languages in the drop-down box, paper translations are available as required. The screen contains some introductory narrative explaining the purpose of the assessment and the format of the options students can choose in response. In a PASS survey for children aged 7 and above, there are 50 statements that students are to read and respond to. These are shown in batches of 5 per page. There are 4 response options available to students to indicate whether or not they agree or disagree with each statement. Note that there is no middle option. There can only be one response per statement, and the student can only move on to the next page once they have responded to all the statements on the current page. Once all the statements are complete, the student can click Submit. Students will then see a page with a checkered flag, which indicates the survey is now complete and has been submitted. There is nothing else that the student needs to do at this point. Back now to the administrator's side of the assessment. Here you can see how each student is getting on. Students are classified as not yet started, started, completed, or abandoned. The information is shown in real time so that help can be provided as required. For example, a student may log out before they have fully completed the assessment. Only when all students have completed the survey can the tutor click on Report, and TestWise will generate your report in minutes. Please note, clicking on Report means that group has been completed, so you cannot add more students in afterwards and then request a new report. This is different from other GL assessments. Finally, when administering PASS, it is vital that your students are aware this is a survey as opposed to an assessment. Therefore, students should be fully aware of what they are expected to do and understand that it isn't a pass or fail assessment. Rather, it is an opportunity for students to let the school know how they feel about themselves as a learner and how they think about the school and their peers. Students should be encouraged to be honest and ensure they do take the survey seriously.